I always loved that bit at the end of JRPGs where it's like, hey, it's the endgame, here's a big list of stuff, explicit or implicit, and you just work at it. And it's not like fully organic, and it's not fully artificial. It's just like...
These must be...
The tank clouds! I learned about them at school. They're a toxic cloud formation made up of countless strata.
The happy kind of
Take a look down
obligation.
there. They're churning so much you can't even see the other side.
Would you be quiet? Your squawking is creating more turbulence than those clouds.
Don't worry. With the Spheta's engines, we should be able to push right through.
By the way, I'm guessing, like, absolutely not a single one of any of these things has any kind of variation based on what other ones have been done.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Anyway, see, Callus and company just had it all completely wrong. It's very easy to get through the tank clouds. Just push through with your Imperial warship. Duh.
Maybe they got worse. Like, I don't know, that seems plausible.
Strange. It feels like it ought to be hard to breathe. But it's not. The air's cleaner than I expected.
Also, for what it's worth, this is probably like my favorite just vista in the game. Like, it's so well done.
There was art direction here.
Those children of the Earth? I think I recognize the masks. Look, they're staring at us.
Who are those people? They're not wearing masks.
There's a weird puppet with them, too.
Speaking of staring at us, like,
Very suspicious.
it's quite a rock formation.
Tell Chief Crumley.
Huh? Hey, wait!
Definitely a vibe
And
going on
there
here.
they go. There must be a town or a village close by if kids are about. Let's follow them.
You're gonna have to remind... I can't remember why we've, like, come here. Like, I know just, you know, from outside that we're working our way down the side quest list, but, like...
Look!
Oh, Guillo specifically asked us to come to Dur.
That must be where they live.
Right.
Let's go
But
check it out.
why? I can't remember why. What was the lead?
Something about the Children of the Earth having the puppets, and the puppets look exactly like Guillo, so we're here looking for answers.
I think I remember something about that. That said, most of the stuff that I remember is weird and jumbled, and I can't remember where I remember it from. Although that probably describes the mindset of a lot of players at this game at this point, so yeah. I'm getting the experience.
Chief Crumley! Oh, there they are! Those strangers we told you about!
See? They've got a strange puppet with them.
That puppet? Impossible. But what else could it be? Everyone, there's nothing to see. Nothing at all. Back to your homes.
Crumley is
What do you mean, nothing to
fantastic
see?
at
Look
working a
them.
crowd.
They're totally weird!
These are, guests. Yes, guests of mine. They've come to see Algarab.
Got that credible energy.
What? You mean you know them? That's boring.
Yes, very boring. Now you heard me, everyone. Back to your homes.
Move along, nothing to see here.
What was that all about? I don't think we've met before, sir.
I'll explain later. Right now, you need to come to my house. You'll only create a scene out here in the open.
I suppose so. Look, those brats from before are still staring at us.
This godcraft can talk?
Godcraft? What's a godcraft?
Millie, please follow along from context.
Never mind. Please follow me.
Is one of the others holding the brain cell?
So what you're telling us is that there's another puppet here that looks like me?
That's right. Our leader, the Great Camro, has it under safekeeping.
No wonder you were so
Yeah, I remember that
surprised.
guy.
Yes, and
He
when
had a
your
pretty
puppet-
sweet chair.
We call them god crafts. Began to talk, I was even more startled.
Could you show us this godcraft?
That's up to the Great Camro. You'll have to go ask him yourself. The Great Camro is the inheritor of all the wisdom and history of the children of the Earth. I'm sure he must know something. He lives in Gemma, a village to the west. It's not far at all. I could even go with you if you'd like.
Thank you. That would be wonderful. Let's get ready to go.
Not so fast.
What is it?
You said you came from the sky?
Yes, that's right. Why?
We children of the Earth have not seen people of the sky for nearly 200 years. I'd like to avoid any unnecessary panic. We'll tell the villagers that you're good friends of mine. And, of course, children of the Earth like them.
See, the fun thing about this particular
But
bit of
we're
the
not wearing
conversation
any
is that it's
masks.
complete bullshit.
The dingbat
If
puppet
you
may look right
if
at
you
home,
talk
but
to
not
some of the
us.
people in Algarab Village, one of them literally
Don't
says that
worry
like,
about the
"Hey,
masks.
I'm
My
from
asthma
Como
the
Mai."
war is a thing of the past. The
Like,
air
my
is
man, not
mostly
only have you
unaffected
like
now.
had
The only way the
visitors in the
masks is
past
adornments.
200 years, one of them literally
All right,
lives
then.
in your
We
village.
won't tell anyone where we're from.
I mean, I was gonna say that the notion
we
of
be
it,
off?
of nobody having been down here for that long kind of, like, makes it even more jarring that we just came down here in an airship. But that's also valid. I mean, I didn't know that, but, you know, just, like... I don't know. This game has a real knack for just throwing in complications of stuff that don't matter, and that could have simply not been here.
Anyway, the real reason that we're here visiting the Children of the Earth is that we can get some extremely good weapon upgrades for the entire party. And given that the next thing on our list is going to be revisiting some of our old friends in the pro-machination areas, we're going to want some better equipment.
Numbers go up. Numbers going up is good. But yeah, the game's doing that thing again, where, like, intrigue established, interest hooked, and then it just kind of screws around for a while, not really doing anything, and, like, really obviously not doing anything, and, like, trying to stall, and, like, it just feels bad. Do remember this place, though.
I mean, the Children of the Earth definitely have an aesthetic. It's pretty hard to forget them.
There's an impression. It gets left. But I mean more like the area and like the multiple levels and the teleporters.
See, they're still working on the teleporters. They only work for children. If we're too heavy, they just don't work for some reason. It's one of the things that they figured out sometime in the next 20 years.
That's just physics. The technology hasn't advanced far enough. There could have got to be mass limitations in there somewhere, otherwise you get like all kinds of weird energy problems. I'm sure there's equations for this. It's all fully realistic, you see.
Great Camro, you have visitors.
What's the matter, Crumley?
Oh, Camro, I didn't know you'd be here. Good. Wait till you hear who's outside.
What do you mean you didn't know?
Crumley!
Oh, no, see, you
Pipe
misunderstand.
down!
There are two
That's
different
your
people
only
named Camro
shortcoming.
here.
You make too much confounded noise.
I see.
I'll work on that.
I mean, that's a development, but
What's
also,
all
like,
the fuss? Even you must have a reason to get that wound up.
come on, let's get to it.
Yes.
I want to know why we fought a Guillo in the past. I'm assuming that's where they're going with this.
Ooh, sweet stinking pow-tarts! Where did you come from?
It's all right. You can speak freely to the great Camro.
Sir, we came from the sky.
The sky. Which floating island, then?
She's from Alfard. Guillo and I are from Hasale.
Hasale? Did you just say Hasale? But that can't be right. Then again, it would explain how the puppets survived.
But Great Camro, I thought there were only 5 continents set aloft. Alfard, Diadem, Sadal Sud, Anue Nue, and then Mirror, which remains hidden from view. So, what is this Hasale?
Hasale is the battlefield where the gods waged their war 1,000 years ago. It's the stretch of earth where ancient cities like Kuyam and Atria once stood. As you say, our ancestors only raised 5 continents into the sky, and Hasale was not one of them.
Then, how did it get up there?
It's said that countless gods were slain in the ancient war, and Hasale was where most of them fell. Perhaps the land absorbed power from their remains and drifted into the sky as a natural result.
I like that. That's good lore.
Camro, would you step outside for a moment? I'd like to speak with these young people alone.
It does mean that we're possibly going to have to reckon with,
Of course.
you know, why it's not there,
As you
as I
command.
recall.
That's all right. with
Yeah, Sagi, I got some bad news about your
Yes, sir.
home in, like, the next 15 years.
Ah, dramatic irony.
you? Now then, step into that room over there.
Sounds normal.
I mean, we're gonna do that, but first.
Completion. The gamer instincts must be satisfied. No exceptions. Well, that was fun.
That's...
Guillo?
That puppet has been passed down from chief to chief since ancient times. Its name is Seginus.
Would you mind if I touched it?
Not at all. It's the spitting image of you. Who's to say the connection doesn't run deeper?
But... I don't know. Do you think we should?
You say
Okay.
Sagi's dungeon
If you
senses
say
are
so.
tingling, and he's trying to stop Guillo from getting sucked in.
Here we go.
Like, I'm saying there's a 0% chance that we're not going to fight it at some point, but yeah, the sensors are going off here. Like, I don't know exactly what I expected, but, sure, whatever.
Well, here we are. We are inside Seginus now.
Where are we?
There's
What
anesthetic
is
here.
this place? Are we inside the puppet?
Like,
It
ice
does
mixed up
feel
with
that
liquid
way.
metal? Sure.
First the distant past, and now the inside of a puppet? What's the point of being surprised anymore?
Oh, stop pouting. Even a bunny cat sent to the hutch without supper would at least try to grin and bear it.
Well, good for
What
the
the
bunny
fuck
cat.
are these, like...
Blech.
Are they supposed to be, like, Hassela proverbs or whatever?
I don't know what they're supposed like. I feel like they're supposed to be a writer said, come up with something, or maybe there was a really good pun in Japanese that could not possibly have been translated,
Don't act like that.
and they were just like, I'll make something up.
Besides, I don't remember ever saying no. Now let's get going.
Well, alright. I know with a shocking amount of certainty that we are in for some bullshit, but it has not made itself apparent.
This dungeon is relatively tame, all things considered. Certainly, it is way less stupid than Millie's dungeon that we just went through.
I mean, that's not hard. For multiple reasons.
So, we got clams. We got a robot that can breathe ice breath at us. And it can shoot us with a cannon. And that's about it.
Yeah, I don't know, I expected... I don't know... stuff? Things? Something of note? At this point, this is just... It's got that enemy design and RPG thing where, like, they made a bunch of different things, and, like, they're different and yet the same. Like, I don't know. This stuff's really hard to balance. But like I said, no, I'm waiting for a gimmick to become apparent. And I was expecting it to be bad, but apparently it's just kind of not. I guess the important question is, does it consume a stupid amount of your time?
Yes and no? Like, this dungeon itself is pretty inoffensive, all things considered. Like, we're gonna do that. We're gonna be pressing a bunch of buttons on the floor. And occasionally getting some flashbacks. And every time we press a button, a little bit of the wall becomes wiggly and we can walk through it to get to another button.
Do we get shown?
Oh, absolutely not.
Right, yeah, there it is. I knew there'd be something. There's always something. So, like, that's it, right? Is that the gimmick?
That's the gimmick. That's the entirety of this dungeon.
This is bound to hurt.
It is vaguely shaped like a person, so like you can kind of figure that, okay, I need to go to the left and down in order to press the left leg button, but other than that, it's, yeah.
Do you know that going in? That sounds like one of those things that they point to in retrospect to justify it, and it fails.
It's not that hard to figure it out.
Yeah, I guess. If that, like, if it does actually work, then fair enough. I'm just like...
I mean, I picked up on it pretty quick, for what that's worth. Like, you know, we go down and to the right, and we press a button, and it, you know, it activates the right foot one, and it's like, oh, okay, well, you can kind of see where this is going.
Like, do you know for certain which one's next?
Something's forcing its way into my mind.
Unfortunately, no, but there's only one way you can go, so...
Magi, are the vessels prepared?
We've made 4 of them. Seginus and Sirma, Dube, and Guillo.
So, this is what they look like. But will 4 suffice?
The 2 of us will control them. 2 vessels each. That is the most we can manage.
We've received word that Rosalis has disappeared. There's not a moment to lose.
Yes, their acts are irremissible. If we don't stop them soon, our land will be the next to fall.
But how do we face their power? They're no longer what we'd call human. They are gods.
That's right. How can we win?
With these, we'll use these vessels and vanquish the gods. Have them ready for magic transfusion as soon as possible. We'll help in any way we can.
I don't know. Sounds like hubris to me.
I mean, we know that it did work.
One of the
Yeah, but that's cheating.
Most likely.
When they said Guillo, they didn't mean...
Come on, put the pieces together. I mean, in as much as there are pieces at this point, like, you know, someone's in there. They did a thing. So, like, okay, this is my objection, right? What? Like, we know roughly where we're going. Like, I can literally see the thing. But, like, is there a theory for how you're supposed to find the bit of wall that has now become squiggly? Like, is it at least...
No, there is no way to know which bit of the wall you can now get through without walking around and looking for one that is now moving.
I mean, at least it's visually obvious. Also, wait, that wasn't even the one I thought I was looking at. Maybe I've looked at this all wrong. I don't know, kind of not what we're here for.
Naos has fallen.
Doesn't the well have anything to say?
Nary a word.
Then we'll have to put an end to this ourselves.
So it seems.
Let us use the 3 sacred treasures and strike the final blow with these god-slaying puppets. Agreed?
Agreed. Beyond that, we can only hope our magic will last long enough.
Kind of pointless, that one, I think. They're doing the filler thing again.
I mean, it's sort of like vaguely walking us through the timeline of each time we went back to the past, what was going on with the Children of the Earth.
Well, was that what they're doing?
Yeah, like, they had just said that in that one that Naos had fallen, that was when Wiseman attacked our home base. which is what ultimately led them to go to Zarak Keep and make a deal with the Dark Brethren.
Yeah, I didn't pick that ordering up. I thought this whole thing was like post the bargain, but I guess not. I mean, I don't think it matters very much for the impact of this. Like that, you know, it's a detail, but like I don't think it's a big deal.
It's begun. Malpertio has stormed the battlefields of Atria.
Oh, that makes it pretty explicit.
Malpertio? What is that?
The Naos survivors have banded together, taken the name Malpertio, and risen against Wiseman. It seems they've allied with the Dark Brethren. Wiseman has summoned dragons, but they are no match for Malpertio. Atria is a sea of corpses.
We can't wait any longer. The gods' remains are toxic. It's only a matter of time before the earth withers and dies.
Are the vessels ready?
All except Seginus. It won't fuse properly with our magic.
Just get rid of it. We don't have time for repairs. I will use Dube. You use Sirma. As for the third, you and I will bond both our magic to Guillo.
Well, sure. Why don't you just come right out and say it? I guess that explains why you were able to tell me that. But okay. Maybe I should have connected like these two with the two guys who showed up in the flashback. Maybe.
I mean, those two are also Guillo's voice actors, so...
Hits definitely keeping on coming. Now, the question is whether I should have spotted that. Like, I don't know, the sorcerers is one thing. But like, hey, details in the thing. Can't hate on that too much. Anyway, like, suspicious final area, complete with save point.
And that's an extremely interesting pickup, too. The Book of Mana is, I believe, our first and only full party heal. The only catch is that Guillo is the only one that can use it, but that's not really a problem.
We've done it! Malpertio has fallen. Victory is ours.
What are you celebrating for? Open your eyes and look at the earth. It's saturated with the gods' poison.
But there are still areas that remain untainted. We must cut them loose before the poison spreads.
Then why not use the gods' power? Choose the most powerful gods.
You mean Malpertio?
Yes, seal Malpertio's remains in each continent. Use the power of the gods and raise those lands into the sky. Free them from the tainted earth. Some of their people are still unharmed. Let us entrust the future to them.
But what about us?
We must stay and protect the earth.
I don't know how I feel about this lore detail, really. It's like, you got god remains, which are toxic, but also, like, they are what they use to make everything float.
It's over. What happened to Guillo?
Our magic expired the moment Guillo vanquished the last of Malpercio. I presume it was entombed where it stood, in a sea of bodies.
So you asked why we fought a Guillo. That was not a Guillo. That was literally Guillo.
Fine. Okay. Sure.
And the need for god slayers has passed.
It checks out. Still doesn't explain why this one knows all of this, but like, sure, whatever.
I was built to slay the gods, which means that really was me that killed him and his family 1,000 years ago.
Those two sorcerers, their thoughts and wishes must have remained in your body.
Sure,
And then
yeah.
one day, I dug you up.
That's how that works. I guess.
That's right.
I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Not entirely sure what Guillo's, like, apologizing for, considering that...
Yeah.
Guillo?
Malpercio was, in fact, an evil god that needed to be stopped.
How could he not?
Don't coddle me.
Also, at what point does, like, Guillo really become
bygones be bygones.
Guillo in this equation?
I don't
Like,
think Guillo even remembers.
there's a whole philosophical element to this that's completely out of whack.
Well, the Guillo I know is a good friend. And I'm sure he feels the same way.
Yeah, except for the part where they literally
I guess
killed
I do
me, but,
too.
you know, details. Don't worry
But you're
about it.
still a dingbat.
Eh, bygones.
Silence, witch! I am not a dingbat.
Now that's our Guillo.
See, we need to have this whole being belligerent at Millie thing, because that's how he gets a character detail. Like, that's how you know he's a real boy. Because of the character development. But also, like, real talk, what's with this other one? Like, how does it, like, Seginus, have all this information? Like, what is going on here? What is happening? The metaphysics demand exploration.
Well, they did say that they never quite got it working right, so it's probably been active, but, like, you know, on standby for the last 1,000 years, and, oops, a being fused with Malpercio just walked up and touched it.
And, like, where are we? Like, are we, like, literally in it? Or, like, is this whole thing, like, being hallucinated? Or, like, what is happening? Like, you can't... Like, sometimes it's dramatically appropriate to just say, yeah, it's magic. Like, hey, the two guys fused all their magic and put it into the thing, and it made it powerful, and it did stuff. And, like, maybe you can even say, yeah, it did stuff, and then the magic went wrong and sat there and became sentient or something. Sure, whatever. That kind of stuff tracks. Like, you can do that, but where are we? What the fuck are we seeing? What is happening? You can't just sideline that. Anyway.
So, mechanically, this is the Guillo fight, except with a permanent dark weapon instead of a permanent light one. It hits about as hard, and will absolutely fuck you up just as easily. The main difference being that we've had a few more boss fights and levels, so we've got marginally better survivability.
So, like, hey, in a way, I was totally right. We are, like, literally doing that fight again.
Yeah, and this time it's for real.
I mean, what is for real? Oh, you mean in game mechanics?
Yeah, like in the sense that no cheaping out like halfway through and then the game goes, oh, okay, this is a cutscene now. No, motherfucker, this is a fight you are expected to win.
Yeah. That still leaves my question, though. But, yeah, sure. From a purely game design standpoint, that all tracks. Like, I'm kind of getting the vibe that there's going to be a lot of that kind of thing going on in our endgame side quest roundup, where a lot of fights that were previously unwinnable will be revisited. Just a feeling.
I guess the sorcerer's strongest wishes must have stayed with Seginus too. Kill Malpertio. Even after 1,000 years, it didn't forget.
You have my gratitude, great Camro. Thanks to you, I know who I am at last. Even if it was better I didn't. Great Camro, I have one favor to ask.
And what is that?
Would you seal this puppet away?
Very well. I don't know what you saw, but this feels like the right time. I will seal Seginus's power.
Thank you.
Also, like, were we just lying there the whole time? And was he just watching us the whole time?
Probably.
Oh,
okay.
Camro, what happened in there?
Camro, Crumley, I've decided to step down.
What did you just say?
I am giving up the Elder's seat. Camro, the people are now in your hands.
Well, I mean, that's one way to resolve that inevitability.
You will lead the children of the Earth down the right path.
Yes, great Camro.
Now, come on, change their text boxes around.
Why?
Come on, don't think I've forgotten about that gimmick.
Entrusted to me by my predecessor. If Seginus's time is through, then
Just take the great out of his and put the great in the other one. Like, come on, you cowards, do it.
Perhaps bringing you and Seginus together was my destiny. Goodbye, everyone. May you always be well.
They're not going to do it, are they?
You know what, he says he's just going to seal away Seginus' power, but the way he's talking there, it sure sounds like he's going on like a little suicide mission in the closet.
Yeah, like, what?
He's gone. He's just gone.
Sure, okay. What does any of that even mean? What was happening in there? And, like, we can still go back in? Like, what the... Okay, good, fine, they did it. Whatever, I got this one thing, I'm happy now. just box checked. Duty fulfilled. Really the only thing I was ever actually conscious of wanting from any of this.
Well, we've resolved Guillo's past, question mark?
I mean, did we? Like, I noticed we can go back in, but is that just for, like, items and stuff?
Shrug? I presume it's so that none of the things in there are unmissable, but, like, you know, there's not really anything of note in there, so...
Game design?